Hey, this is Dale, and this is another Daily Insight. And today we're going to talk livers. So what do I mean by talking liver? So in another Daily Insight, I talked about feeling angry. And in Chinese medicine, anger sits in the liver. Now, I also believe that anger is good because it's an igniter for change. So when I recently allowed some anger to come up, I was absolutely delighted because it enabled me to see what was beneath the anger and for me to instigate some change. Now, anger or liver emotions are around things like being angry, resentful, irritable, frustrated. You might feel bitter, and you might find yourself, as I did in this particular situation, flying off the handle a bit. So really notice what emotions are going on around what I call the liver emotions. Now, what does the liver do? Well, the liver balances, if you like, lets the flow of vital energy and blood flow around the body. So it's a detox organ, so it's helping to get rid of stuff that we don't need. We often can find that it's attached to the eyes and to the tendons. I've written 400 functions. It's probably got like 4 million functions. It is one of the most important organs of the body. I mean, obviously all of the organs are important, but it is a very important organ, and it's worth really looking after. Now, what we might notice about the liver is we're craving sour foods, and we might find our eyes all kind of sore and itchy. Irritability I've talked about. You might also have trouble unwinding and feeling that you can't go with the flow. So remember, we talked about liver is an organ of flow, of vital energy. So when you're thinking about things like, why can't I ever get what I want, and feeling stuck, it could be that you've got the liver emotions coming up. What else might you notice? You might feel like you're holding on to grudges. So when you feel the anger rise, you might think, well, do you know what? They're taking me for granted again, and I really don't like this. Or you can't let go of a hurt. Someone's hurt you. It might be petty, it might be enormous, but you know what? You just can't let it go. And it's a bit like, I feel it's a bit like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die when all of this yucky stuff is going on. But we do have a choice. We have a choice about how we feel. And I've talked before about acknowledging and accepting the emotion when it comes up. In this case, it's anger. And to really explore that in your journal, and then moving on to your gratitude journal and saying, I'm really grateful that this came up because I learned, and really feeling that appreciation for what has happened. So we have a choice. So that the recent thing that happened to me, I made a choice to feel angry, and I knew that I was doing it, but I also knew that there was a reason for it, and I needed to deal with it. I truly needed to let it come up and sort it out. But we also have the choice to choose again. So when that anger came up, I could have chosen something else. I chose not to. I did choose something differently the following day. But it's noticing how that feels and noticing where it's in your body. And when I stopped, it was like, oh, my shoulder and all my neck and in my back hurts. Now, when I first started to work on anger, probably about probably 15, maybe 20 years ago, I really honestly can't remember, but I do remember that I learned things called anchors. And what I did is I put angry words on my fingers. So I started off with the rage, because back then I did something like, if my then husband did something, I could feel myself flying into such a terrible rage. It's like, how dare you tell me what to do again? So I'd have rage, which was my worst emotion, on one finger. Then I'd have anger, annoyance, and then I come down to something called miffed. So miffed is, yeah, whatever. So when something happened, I would actually do it physically to start off with. So I would breathe into the rage. I'd go, and I'd do that for a couple of breaths, and then I'd lower the emotion down to anger, then annoyed, and then miffed, and then I'd just shake it off. So that's something to try. So other things that you could try some of these. So I've already talked about the anchor. You could try meditation to calm you down, maybe a lovely guided meditation. And my go-to for pretty much everything is to take my dogs for a walk, because I tell you, they are so funny. Every time we go for a walk, they do something. They do something. I don't know what it is, but they do something, and it always makes me smile. Explore in your journal. So when I had that angry moment the other day, I went to my journal. I did this in the evening, so I let the day process. And in the evening, I scribbled and scribbled and scribbled. And then what I did in the morning was I went and got my gratitude journal, and I wrote 3 things that I was grateful for about the experience. And that really helped me to gain perspective and to feel, appreciation that I was willing to be open to that next step in my personal growth. The other things that you could do in terms of liver and anger is say no to or reduce. No drinking. So when you're angry, don't go to the nearest bar and neck a pile of whatever. Just don't do it. It's not good for you. And sugar, what do we normally do? We normally turn to chocolate or cake. So, emotional eating and processed food. I know that recently something happened, and I have some friends who always have lots of sweets and chocolates, and I stood in my kitchen with my fist in my hand going, I know. And it wasn't actually, this wasn't related to anger. This was related to something else. It's like, I'm not going to do it. What I actually did instead is make myself something really, really healthy and tasty to eat. Now, what you could do, if you've got stuff going on, and again, a good idea is to keep a food, energy, mood and sleep journal. And this is great for, I keep one of these by my kettle, and I write stuff that's going on. So when I get up in the morning, I write about my sleep. During the day, I write about my energy. I write about the food that I eat and how that's affecting my energy. So that's another great thing to do. Something else that you could do is find, and you can Google this fairly straightforward, find where your liver meridian is. You can see it in the diagram. But when you go to get a shower, get a bristly brush. I have a really nice natural one, and you can just sweep up. So always come up towards your heart. So you can sweep up that liver meridian to really get that energy flowing. And then liver 3, the point that you can see that lady pressing on her foot, you can just massage that, and that'll help to move the energy as well. So when you're in that situation where you're feeling anger coming up, anger is related to liver in Chinese medicine, and there's lots and lots and lots of things you can do to support the liver and to allow the emotions to flow and for you to feel grounded, centered and balanced again. So I'm Dale, and you can find me at daledarley.com, and I really look forward to getting to know you.